Hey, here I am. Hello, hello, my friends. It is episode 1 of Chat with Matt. A little bit cheesy, but nonetheless, that's what we're running with. The intention of this is for me to come on this time every week. It may evolve over time. I'm not locking myself down to exactly this time, but I am choosing to keep it very regular, weekly, and concise. 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Well, that might sound like a long time for some of you, but for me, that's concise. That's concise. Hey, Sister Sicilian, how are you? How are you? So, here we are. The intention is to come on every week at the start. At this stage, we'll run with this time slot. We'll see how it evolves over the weeks. For 30 minutes, I am going to be relatively for Matt, disciplined with that. Good practice, right? And we're here to chat with you all about whatever you might like to know. Maybe to start with, I'll introduce myself for those of you who don't know who I am. And hopefully I am on the ManTarA public page. I did have intention to quote unquote share it out. I have to admit, maybe I can try. Maybe I can try something new. Thanks, Sicilian. We will definitely intend to maintain this. So you guys can keep me accountable. You guys can keep me accountable to showing up and doing this thing. Here I am on live, and so now I'm going to hit share, and I'm going to share it to my group. So share to... So you guys can do the same. If you think this will serve other people, you are quite welcome to share this out. Whether you're live or in replay, right, does not matter. Replay is also good. Group name is ManTarA. If I could spell, big love and support community. I'm going to share it there, post. So, my friends, and I'll share it to another few places when I finish. I'm also going to upload this to YouTube and post it to my out on my, what do we call that, email list for those who don't do Facebook. Hey Luna Willow, how are you, sister? So I thought I'd introduce myself first. That's a great place to start, right? My name's Matt, and I'm a sort of a normal sort of guy. I might look a little bit I might come across as a little bit airy-fairy sometimes, but really I've come from a background of tradesman type stuff. I'm a builder. I work in the film, have worked in the film industry. I've got an honours degree in mechanical engineering. I've got a family. I live a normal life with a house, with a mortgage, all of the rest of the stuff. And I'm a facilitator of transformation. I help people grow. I coach people, and I do this light language stuff where I help to open up energy healing, sound healing, to help people shake out their limitations, to help people release their false beliefs and their discordances, and help people break out of disempowering habits. That's what we do very well. So combining the coaching with some energy healing, for want of a term. I don't usually use the term healing because I don't think that people are broken, but energy facilitation to help people better shift into what they're choosing to be, right? To help people set good intentions, to help people understand what they want to be, and to help people achieve that over time, right? To support people through the process, because it is a process. It's not, it's not us turning up and doing our light language magic and then you're fixed and you can just go on your way, pay your money, all of a sudden you're fixed, life's easy. It's not the truth, right? I haven't seen anyone who can do that. I know a lot of people sort of claim they can do it. I know a lot of people think that it's happened to them, but over time you see that they haven't empowered themselves. They haven't grown. They haven't really moved forward because they haven't mastered the problems that they were experiencing. Someone just helped them shift them to the side, which is not transformation. Anywho, my friends, so I work as a channel as well. When I do light language, I'm channeling light language. I'm allowing it to flow through from a source that is greater than me, for want of a better term. Not that anything is greater than me. Hey, Sister Melita, how are you? Happy New Year to California. And so I also channel in English, although it doesn't sound like I'm channeling. So I don't use a different voice when I channel in English. I don't make it very obvious that I'm channeling English. Those who know me know I'm channeling in English because I sort of start raving a little bit if this isn't ravey enough. But I can definitely tell that I'm not thinking about what I'm saying. So the thing with channeling is I don't get information from spirit, from ManTarA, into my mind and then speak it. I just speak it. The first I know of it is when it's coming out of my mouth. So sometimes I catch myself by surprise and I say stuff that I don't believe, Matt doesn't believe, or Matt doesn't, or Matt's scared of, all sorts of things that I have to deal with as a channel. And I believe channeling is not such a woo-woo art that that it's limited to a few. I believe everyone has the ability to channel. I see kids channeling all the time. They're just connected to more of themselves, to be honest, and they're not thinking about what they say. They're doing that very dangerous thing of speaking without thinking, and out of the mouth of babes, right? Many a truth was said. So that's it. Hey, Sister Mary, welcome to this. Mary was actually the one who suggested I do this and actually even gave me the name Chat with Matt. Maybe about a month ago, maybe it was a little bit longer, but so thank you, Mary. She didn't exactly say come on live stream and do it like this, but she suggested that I do something that's, not light language, not too woo-woo. It's just me chatting with and answering questions for whatever anyone wants to know, because the truth is, as a channel, we do speak quite a bit of wisdom, and I'm not saying that from an egoic point of view. It's the truth, right? I go back and watch some of the stuff that I've done in the past, and it's awesome, right? Stuff comes out that is a little bit beyond Matt and his normal mind, that's for sure. Okay, so here we go. You can, if you're on live, you're very welcome to write a question in on the thing, and I will hopefully catch it as it scrolls up. That sometimes I miss. So if I do miss your question at any time, whether it's today or any other time you're doing these things, don't think that Matt is not choosing to read your question or choosing to answer your question. It may be that I just missed your question. Sometimes Facebook doesn't even show me on my phone comments that are written in. So be willing to ask again. And if you ask 1 week, whether it's live on the thing or whether it's you can ask, I'm going to put a notification up every week, maybe 24 hours before I come on, with an invitation for people to ask questions or put in requests for a topic that you wish to get our perspective on or something like that. And sometimes I'm not going to answer everyone. So if I don't answer what you've asked, be willing to ask again, right? Don't think that Matt's shunned you or something like that. All sorts of things go on in my life that are not quote unquote ideal to Matt. The last thing Matt wants to do is upset anyone, but I find that I do quite often in various ways trigger people, and sometimes I trigger people by inadvertently ignoring them. It's not my intention, but it happens. Anywho, so please ask your questions consistently until they get answered adequately. So you can ask a question 1 week, and if you don't get the answer you like, ask it again, and we will answer it in a different way. That's the truth. There are infinite, I was going to say millions, but there's infinite ways of answering any question. And the truth is, as a facilitator, as a coach, I find myself saying the same things in different ways over and over again to the same people until they get it. And it's not so much always getting it intellectually. I'm looking at the time now because I remembered I'm only going to be on here for half an hour and 10 minutes in. It's not about always answering it intellectually. It's not about getting it intellectually. It's about getting it right in your being. And, time and time again, someone will say to me, "Oh, I've got it now. How come you didn't tell me it that way before?" It's like, it doesn't matter how I've told it to you in the past, you weren't ready to get it, right? We have to, when energy shifts in the body, it has to shift in a certain order. It's quite often we can't get a concept until other concepts have been moved around or adjusted or released or assimilated before we can understand something. So there is a process that goes on with all transformation. And that's why as I work, ManTarA and I work, we work with your higher self to let them choose how to do it. I don't get very mental with trying to fix people, right? I don't go into people and say, right now I'm going to align your such and such chakra because of this and this and this, and we're going to do this and that. I don't think I've got the capacity to do that effectively. Actually, I know I don't have the capacity to do that effectively from my intellectual human self. So I allow your higher self to do it, and I hold the space and the intention for what we want as your outcome, right? And we trust that beings higher than us can work to achieve your outcomes rather than me thinking I'm going to manipulate it and fix you, right? Thank you, Chris. It is so true. I missed someone else's comment here. Bless you, Matt. This is good and true. I meant for you to share your wisdom live. Of course. Awesome. Thank you, Mary. So there was a question written in, and now I'm going to scroll down here. So I've got my computer screen right next to my phone if you're wondering where I'm looking when I'm looking away. I'm looking at my computer. Now I'm just trying to find 6 more comments. Here we go. Sister Sicilian from France wrote in and said, "Hi Matt, I have a question. How to embark on any project when the energy level is very uneven and unpredictable? I don't even dare set any goals anymore. So many crumbling down." This is a great question, as you know, we've just come through New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and many of us are dancing with the idea of setting intentions, setting resolutions, setting goals. What's the difference between an intention, a resolution, and a goal? That's an interesting point of conversation. Maybe we should start there. So for me, anyway, awesome, Chris. Love more time, love more moments in a space where the body is aligned to get it. And when I mean body, it's not just the physical sack of flesh, it's the energetics of the human, right? The energetics of the being rather than just the energetics of the mind space, which is where most of us spend most of our time aligned, unfortunately, not for our best generally. We spend too much time aligned with being our limited version, which is mental, and we miss out on being so feeling, not just feeling emotionally, but feeling intuitively and feeling viscerally in a human. Lisa wrote in, "Can we invoke our higher self to heal our human selves in meditation?" Absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And that's a process as well. So don't think that the higher self is just going to come in and heal you. It's a process of building the connection with your higher self and then allowing your higher self to have more influence over how you are responding and acting in the world. Understand that healing is not just fixing you so that you go on in the same blind way that created the problem in the first place, right? Healing has to occur from deeper within so that you overcome the habits or the tendencies that created the discordance to start with, right? So it's big, right? It's big. Yeah, and not to override, you've cut yourself and that needs healing. That also is very, very, very appropriate at time. Kelly, many blessings to you too, sister. Yeah, I'm sorry. Sometimes it is true that depending on your reception, my reception, the ways of the internet, that live streams can be a little bit choppy or spotty or however you want to describe that. Frustrating is a way I could quite often describe live streams. So if it gets too much, then just quit it and come back in whatever, half an hour's time and watch it as a replay, in which case it will be a much more easy thing to watch. Happy New Year, Sister Rita. Very happy to see you here too. Anyway, let's get on to answering Sister Sicilian's question. So how to embark on any project when the energy levels feel uneven and unpredictable. That's right. I was answering what's the difference between goals, intentions, and resolutions, right? I'm not sure. Well, for me, anyway, because this is the thing, we're dancing with language, looking at the time again, 1:15. Dancing with language, everyone has slightly different connotations of any word. And so when I am answering questions in English or any language that's intellectually understood, which is why I love light language, because it doesn't have an intellectual understanding. But when we're dancing with intellectual languages, we have to understand that everyone is perceiving every word in a slightly different way. Some people are perceiving the same word in quite a different way. They have a different connotation, right? You take any word out there, or most words, and people have a different connotation on what that word means. You know, you start working with concepts like love, fear. People have all sorts of understandings of what fear is, right? All of them correct for them, but most of them are limited to only a subsection of what fear is. The same with love, the same with jealousy, the same with any word. Any word has different ideas. Now, the word intention also has different understandings, and so does resolution, and so does goal. For me, a goal is an intention to achieve something in a particular time frame. Goals have time frames. Intentions, for me, are a little bit more expansive and generally not as... You know, intention is basically you're making a choice with confidence. If you intend to do something, then you believe you can do it, and it is your, what other word do I use other than your intention to do it, right? It is, you've made a choice that you are going to do it, and so it is, right? As opposed to wanting. Wanting is just, or hoping, right? Wanting and hoping is desiring a certain outcome come your way, but you're not actually intending to take action to make it happen, right? Now, a resolution, I should look it up in the dictionary because I'm not exactly sure, but we make these New Year resolutions. Many of them are intentions, some of them are goals, some of them, basically it's making a declaration. A resolution, is it like a declaration? I'll have to look this up. I'm not going to do it right now. I've got my Google open. I could go in there and start looking up this shit, but perhaps it doesn't matter. But the point is, how do we go about embarking on different projects, right? Setting forward on an intention or a goal when we're not sure, quote unquote, when the energy is unstable, uneven, unpredictable, as Sylvia's written in. Many of us have experienced 2018 and 2017 and potentially 2016 in very difficult way, in that a lot of us didn't achieve what we set out to achieve. A lot of us experienced a lot of struggle. A lot of us experienced a lot of stripping away as we tried to achieve things, and we quote unquote failed. A lot of us had quite a bit of failure over the last few years. I'll get to that, Luna, after this. I'll have to scroll back to it. A lot of us have experienced a lot of failures or a lot of unpleasant outcomes, a lot of unsatisfying outcomes over the last year. And so how do we now step forward into 2018? And do we even need to step forward into 2019, setting goals and strong intentions to quote unquote achieve things, external things in particular, right? Projects. For me personally, I've stepped back a little bit from doing that. I did that quite powerfully last year, and it hurt quite a lot, even though it really, really served me. It really, really served me to set some strong intentions last year to achieve things that I didn't end up achieving, because I worked quite hard towards achieving them and gave myself the opportunity to really push up against my boundaries and to really unravel a whole heap of resistance that I had inside me. So the benefit of setting those intentions and setting those goals was not in achieving them, because I didn't, but was in going through the process of releasing what's preventing me from achieving them. Now, obviously, I didn't release it all, and obviously I didn't keep going with those goals because I haven't got there yet, right? I didn't finish what I set out to achieve before the end of 2018. And, you know, I just went through a process over the last couple of weeks of reconciliation around that. And it wasn't a very pleasant time, that is for sure. It was a very difficult time, especially around, 22nd, 23rd, 24th of December, between, solstice, full moon, and Christmas, was very, very unpleasant for me personally. And I had to basically, to survive, to create some stability, some functionality in my life, I had to find acceptance, which is a huge, huge blessing. And that's the energy we are, as ManTarA, working with in this January period. And we're going to be doing our call, right, our monthly call, this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, depending on where you are in the world, on that process and that vibration of acceptance, finding the acceptance within ourselves so that we have a foundation to step forward and to work towards goals or intentions without desperation around the achievement of the said target, right? Allowing the target to take you in the direction that you wish to go without actually having to hit the target in order to get the hit of satisfaction that you did, that you've done well, right? Because a lot of us have been trained into understanding or believing that our happiness is in the achievement of the goal. Our happiness is in success. And it just isn't the truth, right? You ask anyone who has had a lot of success in their life, and a lot of them have come to the realization, that there's no happiness in the success. Is there an easy way to manifest financial freedom? Easier than what, Rita? Easier than what? It's an interesting question. It's a pertinent question for me. That's true. But anyway, let me keep going with this. So, not that you can stop me. Or you can try. So, first of all, step forward into projects, Sister Cillian, and all of us, step forward into projects. Because the question was how to embark on any project when the energy level is uneven and unpredictable, right? Step forward into a project without a need, an egoic need, to succeed, right? It's not to say that you're not committed to the project. It's not to say that you don't work towards success, but your happiness, your self-worth, your truth is not dependent on the success. Any successful person, right, business person especially, has had multiple failures. They are willing to step forward into projects that they're not only not certain that they can achieve them, but there's quite a good chance that they won't. But they're still willing to do it. What it comes down to is following your heart, rather than getting lost in your head and only wanting to start something if you think you have a better than even chance of succeeding, or whatever that mark is. For some of us, we won't start anything unless we have 90% potential for success in our mind, at least. Of course, it's only our perception because we can't see the future. We don't know what we're going to come up against when we start stepping forward into these projects. Some of them turn out to be a lot easier than we ever thought they were going to be, and we've been procrastinating about them forever. And some of them are a lot harder than we ever thought they were going to be, and that is also very, very beneficial, right? Very beneficial to go through a process of working towards something that we never achieve. You know, that's life. That's life. And to have the authentic confidence to be able to fail and get back up, that's really, really beneficial, because we have that opportunity multiple times every day. You know, I'm someone who's guarded their heart and their emotions and their sense of self very, very strongly over the years, because I've, grown up with a diminished sense of self-worth. And so, the fear of rejection has been massive in me. So to ask people for a favor, to ask people to help me, to ask people anything really, to ask someone out, right, as a young person, was inconceivable. Because what if, even if I was pretty sure they were going to say yes, what if they didn't? That would have been devastating, right? Because I didn't have the confidence, I didn't have the foundation in accepting who I was. Who I was based on this idea that I need to be appreciated by others. I need to be acceptable by others. I need to keep giving of myself, right? A people pleaser, so that I felt good enough about myself that I somehow felt acceptable, because there was big chunks of trauma in my field around that left over from past life. Slowly, surely, as I have chipped away at that and chosen to align more and more with the truth of who I am, I have become able to take far more risks in what I ask people, what I talk to people about, what endeavors I step forward into, because failing is no longer a really bad thing anymore. Chris wrote in and said, happiness for me is the ability to access balancing vibrations from within or with help. Knowing that, I'm going to try and read it on the screen. Oh yeah, knowing that it exists is gold. Vibrations from within or with help. balancing vibrations. Yeah, Chris. Awesome. Awesome. So happiness is basically a choice, right? Happiness is a choice that we get to make. Our happiness is basically a perception that we, it's the result of a perception that we choose to hold around anything. If we choose to perceive the world as dangerous and against us, then generally we're not happy. If we choose to perceive the world as good and there's no need to apologise, Chris. I will put it out there that I'm also very dyslexic and reading is not my strong point. So I know sometimes I have to really struggle because I read one word at a time and I have to put it together, then I have to go back and put the sentence together at the end. So I can't just... I know some people just look at things and they've read it, and that doesn't work for me. So quite often, especially if I'm trying to do it with my mind, sometimes I can just look at stuff and get it with my heart, right? And ManTarA knows, and we can answer it even if it was confusing, but other times I get through. Yeah, well, exactly, Chris. If any of us believes that change is not available, we're all lost. Because, and that's a very mental thing to do, very egoic thing to do. Looking at the time, I'm almost out. A very mental thing to do is for our mind to want to hold things static when they're not, right? Nothing is static. Change is always available. The nature of the universe is consistent, constant change. It's only our mind that says, oh, that will never change. It's our mind that holds things static. It's our mind that thinks that we are effed up, or, we are a hopeless case, that we can never get better, right? The truth is we can all get better. And the truth is we will all keep changing. Evolution is a given. Evolution is a given. It's just a matter of whether you want to consciously take charge of that process of evolution and direct yourself in the direction that your heart or your higher self or your bigger mind chooses to go, or whether you allow your evolution to be haphazard and you just get pushed around basically by your past and other influences from other people, and your evolution is like a ship at sea with its rudder broken, right? Engine's on full blast, but you're going in circles, figure eights all over the place, running into reefs, running into icebergs, whatever. So we're here, so that's what I mean. Happiness is about taking conscious choice. It's about choosing to maintain your perceptions, about choosing to maintain your intentions. And so getting back to Sister Cecilian's question, which I do want to answer before we finish, how do we embark on any project knowing that it's unpredictable? We take a deep breath and we come to the strong realization that our success is not important. Now, I know egoically we want to be successful, but we have to understand that what is really important is our evolution. And moving forward, choosing to step forward into any project that feels dear to our heart in the moment, because that's an in the moment thing, right? When we feel in the moment that stepping forward into this project is the quote unquote right thing to do, or something that would be enjoyable, or something that would be beneficial, there's a great word, something that would be beneficial for us to do right now, then we choose to do it. Understanding that in the very next moment, or in several moments in the future, working on that project may have lost its validity, right? Because sometimes stepping forward in a project is about being willing to step forward into it, and completion is not even beneficial for you. But it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a mistake to start, because in starting, you may have set the groundwork. You may have released something from your field. You may have made a connection with something or someone that is going to help you achieve something that is more beneficial for you right now. So the path of spiritual evolution for me, the path of following my guidance, if you like, the inspiration, the intuition, the guidance from spirit, is about willing to follow the breadcrumbs without needing to make sense of it, without needing to see all of the steps before I start, and be willing to change as we go along. Be willing to change as we go along. So that might make us feel a little bit wishy-washy, because society basically says it's really good to finish what you start, to be dependable and all of those sort of ideas. resilient and resourceful, and all of that is great. And if you really feel that it is appropriate for you to finish it, then by all means do, even against all odds. But sometimes we come to the understanding from our heart space, from our intuitive guidance, that that goal that we set, or that purpose, that project, is no longer the most important thing for us to be working on. And so it's appropriate that we let it go, even though our ego will be screaming, oh, not again, you've let go of another project, right? There's a balance to be had here. It's not, quote unquote, beneficial for you to just keep getting distracted and letting go of things every time they get hard. I'm not talking about doing that. I'm not talking about dropping it just because it's got hard and moving on to something else that seems easier or more attractive, not moving on to the next shiny object just because you're bored with what you're working towards. It's about following your heart in the moment and be willing to do that. So don't contract, Sister Cecilian, around having to set goals, but be willing to step forward in ways that feel joyful for you. Be willing to step forward into ways that feel joyful for you. What if you can't feel your guidance? Is it like walking in the dark? Okay, Sister Jeanette, I don't see or hear any guidance either. Feel guidance. We all feel guidance. No one cannot feel their guidance. It's just whether you feel your guidance enough to satisfy your mind. Right? That's what it comes down to. Following your guidance becomes a process of being satisfied with the subtleties of your guidance. That's it. Everyone, I guarantee you, everyone on this planet wants their guidance to be more obvious. They want it to be louder, stronger, more available to them so that they don't have to deal with their doubts. And everyone is shit out of luck because that's not the way guidance works. Your doubts will always be more loud than your guidance. So be willing to follow the very subtle guidances that you get. And they are subtle and they'll come in a multiple of different ways. Just very light sensations that something feels more expansive to step into. You don't have any idea why. You want the why, right? We always think, well, why? And guidance should come through and tell us, but they don't. They don't for me, and they don't for most people, right? So, sorry, I do use a little bit of profanity. I'm not one to just sit here and F and this and that the whole way through. But I will, from time to time, let a word slip out. I am very Australian. I am a tradesman. I've grown up on building sites, basically. So I know I've got a very rich vocabulary in that department. But I choose not to generally do too much of it because it's not necessary most of the time. But when it's authentic, it comes out. So that's it, Jeanette. So don't think that you're deficient. Don't wait for the point is, don't wait for your guidance to get more strong before you're willing to follow it. Go with the subtleties right now. The only way your guidance gets stronger, or the only way that we develop a stronger relationship with guidance, is to follow it no matter how subtle it is, and to choose not to go back and second guess it. I'm out of time. So, my friends, much, much love to you all. I'm looking forward to keeping these conversations going here on this public forum, on ManTarA's public page. Of course, I do these live streams on my private pages all of the time. Not all of the time, but much more regularly, right? Whatever program I'm running, whatever... I'm glad I answered your question, Sister Michelle, without you even asking it. But yeah, I'm here to share information. This is just what I'm doing for free here out in the world. If you want more of this type of stuff, you can join my ManTarA Empowerment and Transformation Support community by going to my website, mantara.nz, and clicking on Training with ManTarA. And down there, it's $33 New Zealand per month, which is about 25 US per month. And we do a whole heap of stuff. I've got lots to share. Over time, I'm going to keep reminding myself to do a little bit of promotion of myself because I do need to build my business here. But ultimately, what I'm here to do is share wisdom and guidance and inspiration more than anything so that you guys can all expand your lives. Another thing that I will put the link to somewhere on this live stream, either above it or in the comments pinned, perhaps, if I can manage to do that. Technology is not my forte, is that we've got a call coming up this weekend on acceptance and really utilizing acceptance to help us move forward. A lot of people think that acceptance is if I accept it, then I'm stuck with it, and it's not the case. Acceptance is the first step in releasing something, right? In transforming, in growing out of it, we need to accept it first. So we're going to be doing that this weekend. That is available in our store. It's $22 New Zealand, or about $15 US for that call. It's 90-minute calls, about 60 minutes in English, 30 minutes in light language, to really help us all get a better understanding of acceptance, a better relationship with the vibration of acceptance. So my friends, of course I went over time by about 5 minutes, but that's not too bad for me. My intention is to maintain 30 minutes. Much love to you all. I will catch you this time next week. Much love. And I'll put a post up beforehand, again with that poster here on my site. Chat with Matt, and you can write down any questions ahead of time. That helps me get there better. And I know I didn't answer your question, Luna, about sleep, and I know other people have questions about sleep. So I am very happy to talk about sleep next week, or on some other forum that you're in. Much love to you all. Bye for now. Bye-bye. What do? I hit finish. See you later.